Okay, yeah, it looks like it's live. Now, this is going to be the weekly healing messages for October 13th through the 20th. And as usual, I didn't tell anybody I was going live. So, I'm recording it and then I'm just going to put it out there and leave it like that. This is the weekly healing messages again for October 13th through the 20th. We are still in Libra season. Mercury retrograde starts on the 13th, today on Tuesday. And what I'm getting is from Spirit, this can be an awesome week and an awesome time. It really can be a good, healthy time of growth. Spirit's giving it to me in a couple different ways. When I do astrology, a lot of times I speak of Haumea being in our astrology, and Haumea would be the growth of the lotus flower. And what Spirit has given me is the lotus flower to remind me this is Libra season. We're still in Libra season. We're coming into a new moon on the 16th in Libra. And really, that means new beginnings, new goals, new directions, all starting a new cycle in Libra. But that really all depends on where you are on the growth of the lotus flower. Now, I do see people starting to say hi and whatnot, and I never stop and talk because then I'll mess up my channeling. But I will go back and look over it later, and I love you and thank you. But with that being said, when I explain Haumea, when it comes to the astrology, is the way that they're giving me. It's the lotus flower. And the lotus flower is one of the most spiritually evolved flowers that we use as a symbol for our spiritual growth. But here is the exact point of what all of this energy of this Mercury retrograde really is going to come down to being about, is the lotus flower grows in a swamp, in one of the most dirtiest, murkiest, nastiest areas, so to speak. And sometimes you're so much in the darkness that you can't see anything but the darkness. Sometimes, as the lotus flower grows, it grows up out of the swamp into that frothy middle land where it's bobbing up and down, and they can see that there is an above, there is a below. It's a little bit of both. And then there is an area where it finally is starting to grow and stretch. So a lot of what you're going to be dealing with during this Mercury retrograde, as we finish this Libra season and we come into Scorpio season, is going to be, where are you on that growth of the lotus flower? Because, see, Spirit also tells me, is this going to be a time of you acknowledging within yourself or within others, where it's just been cry wolf, cry wolf, cry wolf? Or is there actual grace being found? I like to say a lot of times the way that it works for me, and the way that it, when I'm dealing with Spirit and Spirit is teaching me, hi honey, mwah, my kitty, is we don't fall from grace. We fall to grace. But are we still getting caught up in our own, cry wolf to ourselves? Because the Spirit is giving me antelope, which looks like a deer, but it's not exactly. And that speaks to us of watchfulness. It speaks to us of the need of pure heart. But it also speaks to us of applying knowledge and intelligence to help us advance and move forward with grace. But then what Spirit gives me is literally like a skunk's butt. And what this means, because that's the Native American side of me, where I do all of the animal spirit guides. Because what they're giving me, usually the skunk can be a good totem. And it still is. But what they're giving me at this time is, you have to understand, a skunk really can only, let loose its stinky smell. I think it's like every 10 to 14 days. And then it's defenseless. So the idea here is, like I said, that cry wolf thing. The idea here is don't let all your stinky energy out and stink up the room, especially when it's not the right time to. Don't accidentally betray yourself. You are going to be finding, as we approach this beginning, and we're starting this Mercury retrograde. Like I said, it's also Libra season, which means automatically this has to do with relationships. And it's relationships with yourself, as well as any and every other kind of relationship you have. Relationships, and then the energy is moving into Scorpio next week. The sun is, I believe, and then we're moving into Scorpio season. So we're dealing with relationships, people within our relationships, our friends, our children, our loved ones, ourselves, our working environments. Anything you care about, you have a relationship with. But then as it's moving into Scorpio, we're also starting to look at it at that whole underworld, because Scorpio is underworld. It's also a whole lot of birth, death, rebirth. Can it rebirth? What are the rules of the rebirth? Are there rules? Spirit tells me that this is a lot of dissecting relationships for growth, worth, your part in them. Take full inventory. You are going to be faced with stubbornness, determination, control, vengefulness, jealousy, possessiveness. This is even going to get into money, because you got to understand Mercury is technically in opposition of Uranus. Now, this is why I said right off the bat, Spirit is giving me this all depends on where you are on your growth of the lotus flower. If you are still in the position of your life where you just are in the fucking swamp and you can't find any light, then it's about to be showing you where you're getting it wrong. But if you're starting to, get in that frothy middle land, because it's the area of how the lotus flower grows and evolves. If you're seeing there is an above, there is a below. You have a choice to know of both, to be of both. Or are you stretching for the higher dimensional energy? Depending on where you are, and there's no right or wrong. We all have to go through our spiritual growth. Sometimes you're going to be in that frothy middle land. Sometimes you're going to be in the swamp for a while because you're learning some things about yourself. But this is all about, don't get it twisted, really. Just don't. Because this is all about, have you learned any grace? Have you learned any pure of heart? Because you're going to be challenged with this Mercury retrograde. It's the underworld. It's, dissecting relationships, determination, stubbornness, control, vengefulness, jealousy. Taurus rules money. So does Venus. Venus is in Virgo. Venus is, right now getting into all of that sixth house stuff, which is people, places, and things of energies that consume you. And I say consume you because the people, places, and things of energies that you put your people, places, and things of energy into, that's what actually consumes you. So Venus is speaking to you about that being good for you or not being good for you. Venus controls money, but she also rules Taurus. Taurus is independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom. Second house, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and possessions. So this is either saying that you are bringing that manifestation of that money and that good feeling to you because you're getting through that frothy middle land and you're starting to stretch. But if you're not and you're in the swamp, then this is going to be showing you where it's also going to be touching base and asking you questions about your money. Because you got to understand, when Taurus is backed up against a wall and Taurus is not feeling good with Uranus here, that means it becomes controlling and possessive and jealousy and try to push people around. And being that second house is going to be talking about your possessions, the small possessions, things that you can purchase, things that you can own, things that help you feel good about you. So this is, it's very much going in two separate directions, and this all depends on how you handle it. You're coming into a new moon, so this is a brand new cycle within the relationships, within the dissecting of these relationships, of your own personal growth within them, if there is true value and worth within them. If what is the inventory? Is it supporting your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem? If it's not, there's your answer. You have all week. Uranus is in opposition of Mercury. Uranus is self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, your inventive nature. This should be a time for you to be feeling good about yourself. You know, patting yourself on the back, feeling good about yourself, believing in yourself. But if you don't, then you're going to feel crushed right now, because it's going to be speaking directly over to that communication in Scorpio, which is the underworld. This is either time to pat yourself on the back or learn what you need to do to pat yourself on the back. Again, that'll be speaking to you of that second house, too, of possessions and money. And if you're feeling not in control of yourself, you can bet somebody else is going to be trying to take control over it. So that's why I said in the beginning, Spirit is giving me that cry wolf. You know, don't, and the skunk, don't stink up the place with the skunk energy, at least until it's the right time. The antelope is speaking to us of applying the proper knowledge and the intelligence to advance ourselves forward. Be watchful, pay attention, and do it with pure of heart and grace. I was saying a couple weeks ago, maybe even last week, you know, what Spirit was giving me is the mighty lion. And the mighty lion, I was saying, a lion doesn't need you to defend it. It knows how to defend itself. Well, I've been saying a lot lately, you know, we have an obsession with godliness. We have an obsession with wanting to be that higher energy, but we have an obsession with it because it's coming from an egotistical standpoint. So we're seeing it from like superheroes and supervillains and all the great things that would be so awesome if we had the power to do. But the whole point is, if you really had that power, do you need to lower yourself to prove that you have it? That's ego. Knowing when to act and when not to act. You have a T-square that's been all week, and it's continuing. I mean, the past week is continuing. It's with Libra, the Sun, Mars, retrograde, in Aries, and Capricorn's energy with Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn, which is bringing in the illumination of how you shine. And are you taking the proper action? Do you have the courage to stand in your power and make the changes in the outer community? And it's forced upon you in ways that's trying to see if you really can stand up for who you are and come into that true shine of who and what you are. Can you believe in you? But you also have Lilith, which is going to be on the cusp all week of Aries and Taurus. And it's not getting along with Mercury. It's not getting along with Mercury or Jura, which is sacrifice and commitment to the communication of the transformation of your underworld to the truth of the relationships. And what are the rules? Coming out of that first house and into that second house, Lilith is full on ego. She's full on fire and fire for me. Me, and me, some more. So this is saying, yes, if you've come into that powerful energy of yourself, that's a glorious thing. But it's going from Aries into Taurus, which can be stubborn, determined, full of fire, and then just as easily fuck you and I'm over it. Because it's switching the two signs. So this is why I said they're giving me the skunk. Don't stink up the place until you have the until you know everything, because there's something you probably are not seeing yet. You have, very important too, on the day of the new moon in Libra, you have a second T-square that is starting. Neptune is not getting along with Venus in Virgo, and it's not getting along with Gemini, that north node. So the north node is everything you need to learn about up close and personal right here in your life and in your face. It's also Venus, about your people, places, and things of energies that you consume, because that consumes you and that becomes who you are. And if these people, places, and things are not supporting you being the best you than you can be, then you're creating again from a negative Neptune. Underworld. Neptune is still in Pisces energy, which is going to give that 12th house energy its secrets, its mystery, its denial, its illusion, its delusion. Don't jump the gun too fast. Don't stink up the place. Because it all depends on if you're correct with your Neptune energy, on if this is going to be a challenge or if this is something that you're conquering. Because you're truly coming into grace as you move forward. You do have Uranus and Mercury and Scorpio, which are getting along great with Venus. Like I said, Venus is not all about ooey gooey, soft and chewy. She is about how you feel, your senses. But Scorpio is all about the detective energy. So trust your intuition. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. You don't have to explain. Just don't do it. Venus is telling you why she loves it and why she hates it, why it betrayed you and why it's working for you. And then speaking with that relationship energy, it's showing you the truths. Or it's mirroring back to you your own truth. You have the North Node in Gemini, which is getting along great with Aries. This is giving you the courage, giving you the creativity to start to truly find you, be you, and successfully believe in you. The question is, will you? You also have Venus in Virgo, which is getting along with that outer world. The question is it getting along showing you good things or bad things? Because if it's showing you bad things, it's warning you why you're having to dissect it so hard and why you have to go through so much inventory to decide if there is truly growth. Because if there isn't growth, then it's not for you. I love you guys. Bye. Hey. That needs to move. Bye, guys.